Good afternoon and welcome to my hobby bench for what I consider a very interesting operation and video that I hope you all can appreciate. So in the last week and a half or so, I had this wonderful gentleman named Bill send me a tool that he designed and manufactured himself, because he's a machinist, for removing these little camshaft bearings from within this cam cover and within the case of these Surpass style designed engines. And I want to do a demonstration using this tool, and the tool is this thing here. This is another section here for, we'll get to that. But so let me just give you a quick rundown of this tool. So this is really along the same lines as the probably just about any inner race bearing removal tool, where it has split jaws that you go inside. I went up too far. You go inside the inner race of the bearing and then they expand to grab the outer portion or that back portion of the bearing and then pull it out. So the Boca bearing miniature bearing puller tool has the same type of design concept, but they didn't have one that was actually designed to do these specific bearings because it just didn't have the length required. So that's basically the concept of this. We've got a couple of bushings here that will add some stability and length to this overall mechanism and how deep you need to get in. And you got a couple of screws or a couple of washers here to run this against. So basically what this is, to me, I don't know if this was just some really hard steel tubing. I'm not a machinist, so I don't know. Or if Bill actually just drilled a hole in a steel rod, threaded it, and then machined all these things and cut the jaws and all that kind of stuff. All I know is it works really awesome. And the concept is you stick this thing in here, and I'm going to show it. I'm going to demonstrate this. Stick it into the bearing with whatever bushings you need. Shove this portion in, because this is the part that actually expands that. And then you just wind it out using these screws. So let's do this. I'll move this off to the side because that's really for something else. So I'm going to do it on this crankcase here and remove this bearing. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a couple of these washers, on here, because they're actually going to be what holds this thing against the crankcase to draw it out. And I don't know that I need that plastic bushing there. I'm not sure. We'll see what the depth is like here. So I might have to adjust this and get this to go all the way in there, and it's fully in there. And now I'm going to insert this and expand that so that it's locked on there. Then I'm going to run this one down and hold. I'm going to hold this one here, the bottom one, in place. Now this has been oiled. I didn't heat it up. I'm going to attempt to do this without heat, just for giggles. So what I want to do here is I want to get my adjustable jaw on here and get this one on here and just start, figure out which way I need to rotate this thing and just start pulling it out. And I just heard a pop. So I know Bill mentioned that it's probably necessary to heat this up, but as you can see, I just pulled this bearing out. Okay, so my apologies. I was getting a phone call there while I was in the process of extracting that bearing, but as you can see, look. I can shine a light down in here, I think. No more bearing. Bearing came out, and it didn't even need to be heated up. I just had put oil in there. So then you just run that up, pull this guy out, and the bearing comes off. I mean, this is just fantastic. So the next portion of this is extracting it from the cam cover. And that's where you still use basically the same thing, but this portion is what gets utilized now. So this is basically, it looks to me just like a regular bushing that you could get at a hardware store. I don't know, but maybe Bill actually milled this out. This is not going to work for this engine. That's unfortunate. So interesting. So I used this on a 70 Surpass or a Magnum, I can't remember, but this bushing is not the proper size for this diameter housing, so I'm not going to be able to do it. I might be able to still force it to work somehow. Just this is supposed to fit within here completely, but I might be able to do it like that. So let's give it a shot and see, because I hate to think that, you know, this tool is only going to be good for certain size engines, because that would suck. So where are my washers? Here's my washers. Let's run this thing down in here. See what kind of bushing spacer we need to get on here. Yeah, I think this thing will work. I'm going to put just this flat spacer on here. And run it up some more. Put this in there. And now I'm going to run this thing down. You're not going to be able to see what I'm doing here. I got to try and run this thing down. Put this rod in. And I'm just kind of trying to hold it. So that it's flush. Looks like that should work. So let's get on here. Let's see which way I need to do it. I need to do it the other way. And I'm going to just rotate this like this. And you can hear it extracting that bearing. And there we have it. So I was able to make that work. The other one, the 70 Surpass one, it fit in here, but there was a little bit of slop in there. So maybe this is just a universal fit one. I don't know. A 20 Surpass might have to use this other side. So I'm sure that Bill is intelligent enough to have this thing designed so that they all work, and it does. So look, there's our bearing again. Pulled out, take that rod out, and there's our bearing. So suddenly the task of removing camshaft bearings became incredibly simple due to Bill's ingenuity and this design. Now this last portion of the tool is actually an insertion tool, and Bill had sent me one of these, a good bearing on the way. So this insertion tool is basically just this. You don't need an insertion tool to put one back in the cam cover, but you definitely need it here. So for the insertion tool, what I did when I used this, I've used this once already, is this thing is beautiful. You just do one of these things. This is what I did. I just held it up like this, put it up there, put it down, oiled it, and tapped it in place. I didn't even heat it. I mean, and it worked wonderful. So I mean, this is just a game changer in my opinion. This is something that I wish I had many years ago, because honestly and truthfully, these bearings don't need to be replaced all that often. The engine has to be in really poor shape, as this one was, before these things are really needing to be replaced. But the bearings aren't expensive, and with a tool that's so easy to use, it's like, why the hell not just replace every bearing in every Surpass style designed engine from here on out in the future. And if customers are willing to pay for those little bearings, I'm willing to do it, because now I'm capable of doing it easily with confidence because of this tool that Bill sent to me. So Bill, thank you very much for this tool, and man, this is such a game changer.